it's always really important to understand your customer. I mean, but I think particularly in these times, I think brands really need to understand how their customers are thinking, how their consumers are feeling. They really need to get some sort of emotional connection to consumers. Information is always important, but the return on information you can get in a recession is even more so. You know, brands that lose touch with their customers at this point are going to find themselves in difficulties. Those that can maintain contact with and empathy with and understanding of their consumers are in a really good position to ride it out as best they can. It's interesting, the confidence and the spend are slightly different. Consumer confidence in Hong Kong over the last 6 months has declined a lot. Admittedly from quite a high base, so Hong Kong consumers were quite a confident bunch 6 months ago, and now their confidence has dropped off quite a lot. But it's not necessarily being reflected in actual spend. Okay. Yeah, we know that that on big ticket items and high involvement items, those purchase cycles will get longer and people will delay purchase and think about it a little bit more. But at a household level, spend hasn't necessarily reduced. In fact, in some categories it's up. And there's definitely a trend towards what we call cocooning, or being at home more. And people are household expenditure is going up, and as people stay at home, keep their family close, keep their friends close, and also give themselves small indulgences. You might not be able to give yourself a large indulgence, but you can afford a small indulgence. Nobody can be rational 24 hours a day. It would be wrong of marketers to think that the only thing that people are interested in now is price. You know, value, yes, people will be looking for value, but value is more than simply price. There's many ways in which you can show value, and I think it's important that the marketers understand what value means to consumers in their category. It's interesting because you see that trend. There's been quite a few articles about this, and that you see that trend in Europe and the US. I don't know that that's necessarily been reflected in Asia yet. Okay. So, but it'll be interesting to see. I've heard the term austerity chic used. Whether that will actually happen in Asia, I don't know. But it does mean. But it does mean that people do want brands that understand them and show some empathy and relevance. And if you're making bold, grandiose statements that don't connect with your customers, with your audience, then that could potentially be a problem. One of the things that I think that the recession will help to bring out is, I think it will be a focus for innovation. I mean, actually, if you have an innovative idea in a recession is almost the best time to have that innovative idea. And we know that from history that a lot of the big brands that are with us today started their life in the 30s depression in the US. It's always a time for a good idea. But I think even now that a good idea that fits with consumer needs will actually stand out even more. So I think it's a great time for innovation, and I think the innovation should be very high on marketers' mind. I think the other thing that should be there is the whole issue about engagement, and I think some brands are doing engagement and conversation with their consumers well. And others probably are not. I think there's still some brands that are struggling to a certain extent with understanding that they no longer have control of the communication and the dialogue, and really it's out there. The consumer has way more control than they used to have, and how actually people respond, how brands respond to that, and how they make it work for them. I think perhaps not everybody is totally across yet, and I think there's still some work to do that.